Here is an overview of the layout with the top layer of foam installed that has the track plan printed out and taped on top of it. I've also gone around and cut out along the edges of where I want the inner loop to be raised, as well as along through here where there'll be some grade with the road that's going to be passing underneath these two bridges here. And I've also gone ahead and cut out the upper level loop and tape the track plan on there. This area through here has also been cut out, which will allow me to have a road that's going to go underneath this bridge here and then wind up to the top urban section up here, which will have a number of buildings and roads and so forth. And then I'll be blending these two together down here as I cut out these two sections. And what I'll be doing essentially is once I finish cutting out this this inner area in here, and I'll essentially be taking little shims of wood and so forth and placing them in between the two layers of foam to get the elevations as I want them between the inner loop area and the outer loop area, which will be about a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch lower. And overview with some of the foam cut out and raised up a little bit. There's no supports underneath any of this foam at this point, but I cut out the sections that I wanted to cut out between the inner loop here and the outer loop, and essentially, traced around this entire inner loop area and popped that up a little bit. And then I cut out the what's going to eventually be a road section and joined it up to where it'll meet with the section that gets pulled down from the top loop, and then this will eventually be sanded down to blend in with this section down here. I'll probably have to do some type of filler in there to blend that up, and then this will essentially be the road that goes underneath the two overpasses, or two bridges, which will be in place here and here on this part of the loop. Here, I've gone ahead and filled in all the little nail holes and sanded everything on the exterior and rounded all the corners as well. I've also added a variety of random scraps of wood, which will serve as supports for the next layer of foam. And while it is kind of chaotic looking, everything does support the second layer as I want to. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to be adding some of this Loctite power grab on top of the wood strips and the areas that are going to be flush with the lower level to bond the second layer of foam to this layer. But before I put the layer of foam on, I'm going to spray some Great Stuff expanding foam in all the in-between areas, and making sure I leave enough room for it to expand. And so what that'll do is expand all the gaps between the wood and the second layer of foam. And if I do it right, it will completely fill the entire space between the two layers of foam, so you won't have any issues with lack of support in a given area. I've gotten the expanding foam and the adhesive put down here everywhere where I want it. So I'm going to go ahead and lay down the second layer of foam, and then put down a whole bunch of weights on top of that to help keep everything in place while the foam expands and cures. I have the second layer of foam now put down, and I place weights all around the foam to help hold everything in place while everything expands, or all the spray foam expands. There's a little bit of a gap right in there. I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. But then once all this foam expands and dries, I can go ahead and simply carve it like I do all the other foam, and it'll help fill in a lot of those gaps in the scenery. And result, I won't have to use quite as much plaster or spackle type filling to fill in all the scenery gaps. This will all eventually here be sanded smooth, and I'll have to add some. Maybe I'll just try the foam and see how that works actually. Shake it up here. This will have to be sanded smooth to produce a nice gradual road surface. Not sure how well this is going to actually work with this type of foam, but it will at least provide some support there. But anyway, I'll have to sand that smooth, and I may eventually actually come back here and actually put some styrene down for the actual road surface once everything is sanded the way I want it. Okay, well, everything is now dried. The top layer of foam or top layer of foam board is securely attached to the lower level with some adhesive, as well as the spray foam, which has been placed or sprayed inside the entire interior area between the two levels, and that's really made an extraordinarily strong structure here. All the gaps between the little wood supports that were placed in here have been totally filled with the expanding foam, and pretty much everything has been bonded solidly together. And so the difference between now or before the spray foam was in place and now is pretty remarkable. I mean, everything is just extraordinarily solid. You can't really obviously tell by looking at the video, but it makes for an extremely strong structure, since the two layers of foam as well as the strips of wood in between are now bonded into one solid piece. And of course, everything's also bonded to the exterior frame with a combination of adhesive and the spray foam, which is oozed out, along all, between the gaps along the sides. And so it's now a very durable, very rigid structure that really doesn't flex at all. And it's but still extremely lightweight. Here's a quick view of the underside. There's the few cross supports in there, and the combination of that, along with the two layers of insulation foam board and the spray foam, is very strong and stable. I have done some minimal grading of the foam and the spray foam that used out here, where the road will be in the future. This part has been raised up here, and the layer that comes down from the top level will meet up right here and provide for a continuous road surface from here up to the top of what will be the second level up through here. So that's pretty much where we're at right now. And at this point, the next step is going to be testing the track layout and fit once I acquire all the track sections that I need, and get things up and running for testing purposes, make sure everything sort of fits, and then work on adding the supports for the second level, which I really can't do that until I have a track in place on a lower level, at least sort of tacked down, so I can make sure that all the supports are going to be clear of the track, and there's not going to be any issues with cars overhanging turns and swiping the supports for the upper level. So, but what I'll be doing is basically placing support pieces around the edges and in the middle here, and then the top level will basically sit on top of that, and it will be made removable, so you can basically lift it out and access the tracks that are here on the lower level. Thanks for watching. Bye.